looking down the road just like I always do. Well, hold on now, my friend. When days like these are not the end, you'll come around again. Did you have a dream that you let go? Was it all your choice, or did they tell you so? Just recall a time when you stood tall and held your ground like leaves in the fall. Well, it's no wonder, my friend, days like these do you in. But I know you'll be back again. Oh, days like these, when you're on your knees and beg and please, on days like these. Well, it's not easy to see, floating along on a breeze, that you were made for days like these. Just hold on now, my friend, 'cause days like these are not the end. You come around again. Oh, days like these, when you're on your knees and beg and please, on days like, oh, days like these, when you're on your knees and beg and please, on days like these. Days like these, yeah. Days like these. So here we are, leaving the Bikes and Coffee event in Culpeper, Virginia. A beautiful day to be riding a bike. You saw some of the video of getting here. And I wanted to talk a little bit today about something I mentioned in the first video, which is the community that you find in motorcycling. And it's the thing that you need to know about me. You don't need to know, but the thing that I'm going to tell you about myself is that I am an introvert. Pretty strong introvert. For people who don't know, that doesn't mean I'm shy. I've been a performer, musically. I've also, my undergraduate degree was a theater minor. I lecturing in front of people for years. I can hold people's attention. I can perform as needed. And enjoy it, actually. But I do get a little bit uncomfortable when there's a lot of activity, a lot of people, a lot of social energy. It's just not my comfort zone. And, that's why it was an interesting sort of, I guess that's partly why it was so easy for me to just cocoon, like I talked about in video 1. When I moved here to Virginia, not really knowing anybody. Yeah, it's just in my nature to seek out solitude. When 2020 came along, we don't want to spend too much time talking about all that. Okay, there he goes. He's good. When 2020 came along, I was in the UK, in England, and they were pretty pretty strict with their social distancing. I don't know what it was like here in America. I obviously didn't get to experience it here. And the social distancing thing basically turned into social isolation for me, probably for a lot of people. And for those that didn't, that's excellent. I'm really glad. Because that's not a great way to be. It's not a good thing to be socially isolated. You have to, I'm a social psychologist by training. That was what my original PhD is in. And we are social animals. That's who we are, that we thrive in a social context. We really do. There's a brilliant theory called social baseline theory. If you want to get academic about it, you should look it up. And it talks about how, it's right there in the title, social baseline. Our baseline is to be social. Right? It is an expectation. It is simply where we thrive. Some brilliant studies in that work showing that being connected to others, even holding hands, even with people you don't know, but certainly with people who mean something to you, can reduce not just your perception of pain, right? So like what you report about pricks on your little needle pricks on your foot or your ankle, but actually they've shown with fMRI scanners, your brain activity is actually, that the way the scanner can show like your brain processing pain. And when you're holding the hand of someone who's important to you, or even someone who isn't, but a stranger, let's say, that your brain doesn't light up as much when the pain is occurring. So just being in the presence of others, it is where we're supposed to be. And yet here we are in 2025, post-COVID, streaming, everything. You can be so isolated in this world right now. You don't have to even leave. You can work remotely from home. Everything can be delivered to you, your food, any items you want, right? You can be entertained, all in a tiny little room by yourself. And I'm not saying people are doing that, but I guess I'm not saying that they're not. And part of my initiative to get connected to the motorcycle community was about wanting to be connected to people again. And, for me, it is a challenge because I am an introvert. I need isolation at times. I need to kind of just go off on my own. And that's kind of a beautiful thing about motorcycles, is they afford you that. It's kind of it's a really interesting thing once you start getting connected to the people. Like, we all met up today for coffee, and we had a lovely ride out to this Bikes and Coffee event here in Culpeper. So we all met up in Stony Point Cafe near Charlottesville. And then we all took, the road to get here. It's got a little separated, which is fine. We were all riding our ride. A funny story there is I ended up being, because of the way the pack got separated, this was my second group ride in the 2 months I've been riding. And I ended up being the leader of the backpack, the second pack of us all. And I don't know Virginia that well, right? I haven't been here 2 years yet. And so I just had my little navigator there telling me where I was supposed to go. And I was pretty sure the people behind me were thinking, where the hell is Philip going? And we definitely didn't go the way the front pack was going. Turned out it was a gorgeous ride. It was a gorgeous road that this Moto2 Beeline app took me on. And everyone I talked to later who was in that back group said the same thing. Like, wow, I wasn't expecting to go that way, but it was great. The nice thing is, it turns out, I thought we were going to be late because we were sort of diverted from the main road. Somehow or another, we actually beat the first group to Culpeper, which was, kind of cool. Wasn't like we were racing, but still kind of cool. Thank you, Beeline Moto2. You did a decent job. Now, I've decided to take more of a straight route home today. This is rather than sort of the beautiful country winding road we took to get to Culpeper. But nonetheless, so suddenly I was in the lead, and it worked out well. Got to meet some new people, And I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. I'm rambling a bit here, is the community, the camaraderie, the connection of motorcycling. Frankly, however you get there, whatever it is you have to do, it's just so goddamn important. I've told you before, and we're going to talk about it in videos coming up, that my main research professionally has involved mortality awareness, right? Our fears and concerns of death, and our ability, hopefully, to accept it and integrate it into our lives. But that's not what my original, my PhD thesis, actually what I got my PhD on, my dissertation was a series of studies looking at something called social capital. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of social capital or not, but I highly recommend you look it up. And what you can do is I would recommend the book. The most sort of famous book for it is Bowling Alone by Robert Putnam. There are other books and other things to learn about social capital. Basically, the notion is that society does better, obviously, and individuals do better when they live in societies where there's high social capital. And what does high social capital mean? It means trust, a generalized feeling of trust and cooperation among strangers. Not just people you know, not just people in your family, right? There's evolutionary explanations for why you would trust and care for and help out your kin. But social capital deals with trust and cooperation among strangers. That sense that, like, if I drop my wallet at a supermarket, that I believe I live in a part of the world where someone will pick it up and tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, here's your wallet, you dropped it back there. That I trust that that's the way the world I live in, right? Just now, you saw the videos of the bikes, all the bikes in Culpeper for this Bikes and Coffee event, and look at what all of us do. We leave our jackets, we leave our helmets. There's all kinds of personal belongings. Yeah, you're not going to leave your wallet maybe sitting out there, but people here in the motorcycling community assume the best of each other and of those in the community. And I think it's not just the motorcycling community who feels that way, right? It's the goal. It's what we should be aiming for. And of course, you're sitting here listening to this thinking, what are you talking about, Philip? I don't live in that world. All I see all the time is how fractured we are, how polarized we are, how we hate each other. And yeah, sure. Unfortunately, right now, as we know, and we're not going to go down this road, but we know, right now, social capital in a lot of America, maybe in most of America, is deteriorating. Maybe it already has. And I think what I'm trying to get to is that social capital isn't just some magic sort of experience or process that you just wait for it to happen. It's something you actually have to make happen, right? You actually have to reach across the fence in your backyard and talk and shake the hand of your neighbor and talk to them. Maybe even if they've got a sign in their yard for a politician that you don't like. You don't have to. But that's how you form social capital. That's how you start building it. That's how you maintain it. You think well of your fellow citizens and their intentions. And you want to spend some time with them. You don't want to, as Robert Putnam would say, you don't want to go bowling alone. You want to join a bowling league. You don't want to just ride motorcycles by yourself. You want to ride out in a group, get a coffee in the morning, and as a group, hit the winding country roads to go meet a whole bunch more motorcyclists who are doing the same thing as you. Get to know them, talk to them about their bike. Talk to them about what makes them happy, what makes you happy, about your bike, your ride. Everyone has stories. We had a great story with one of the women riders who was with our group, and She was in my back group today, so she was a couple bikes behind me. I'll try and see if I could find the moment on the ride out there and maybe get a screenshot of it. There was something huge in the center of the road at one point. I could have been an armadillo, could have been a raccoon, I don't know what it was. It was massive. He was dead right in the center of the road, and I managed to just I saw it, and I managed to just kind of swerve around it a bit. But she was behind a car a couple lengths back, and the car went right over it. She didn't see it, so her Honda Rebel went just straight over this thing, and she said her bike she got a little freaked out. She's only been riding for a few months, and I would too. Everyone would. It jostled the bike, and apparently, I would say, sorry for the armadillo, sorry for the raccoon, whatever that creature was, but it was already long gone. But apparently, this thing got spun out by the back tire, and apparently, got a 10 from the Russian judge. It was flipping around, and it was doing some roadkill gymnastics apparently, and the riders behind her were a little like, oh shit, here comes a carcass flying through the air. So we were all safe and we were all sound, but this is the kind of thing you do, right? You don't know these people, you're just getting to know them, and they're telling you their stories, and you're telling them I took this one turn just a little hot, and it's just, you're not alone. Your experience is still yours. I'm right now as isolated as I could be on this bike in this helmet with my earplugs in, my voice occluded. I could hardly hear myself talk. And it's about as isolating an experience as it can be, which is amazing and beautiful. It's kind of what I talked about last time, that forces you to just be right here, present in the moment, mindful of what you're doing in your immediate surroundings. And then you get off the bike and you have this incredible opportunity to be social if you take it. And it's awkward because, it's awkward for a lot of people, right? Some people are just naturally good at it. I'm not. It's funny, I was a social psychologist. I am a social psychologist, always have been. And I remember talking to my mom and my brother once about my work and being a social psychologist. She was like, well, what does that mean? I was like, well, we study the psychology of individuals in groups in social situations. And she just looked at me, she said, but you don't do a lot of that. You're not the most social person. And I just said, well, I'm an introvert, so it's a lot for me. That's not the one from earlier. And my brother stepped up and said, yeah, but sometimes that's what you need to be a good researcher of something, right? Especially when you're talking human behavior, is to kind of be on the outside just a little bit, right? Obviously, I'm not antisocial. I love people and I love hanging out with people. It's a lot sometimes, especially as the crowd size goes up. But as he was right, sometimes to understand human beings in a social situation, maybe it requires someone who is just a little bit on the outside, just a little bit. I'm not trying to say I'm going to go in and look at the tribe, but I got to make sure I don't go native. But it is that kind of sort of approach, right? Like an anthropologist will go visit some community, and because he's an outsider, he can look at it with a different eye. There is no historic, there is no legacy belief system about the people or the different people who live in that community. Right? I know it's kind of getting off the beaten path here with this discussion, but I guess my point is I am not the only introverted social psychologist in the world, I can tell you that. And I think maybe that makes it partly what draws us to it, is we're probably intrigued by it, but also intrigued about what is it about me that makes me the way I am when it comes to a social situation. So today was a perfect day to talk about this community, camaraderie, connection. It's so important. What a stupid thing to say, Philip. Right, of course it is. But I guess that's my point, is I just feel more and more, I'm 56 years old. I grew up in an Italian family where at holidays there might be 13, 14 of us with cousins and aunts and uncles and extended family. For Thanksgivings, for Christmases, for major events. Very Italian American. My mother was born in Italy, there was more Italian spoken in my house when I was a young child than English, at least the first 5, 6, 7 years. At least it felt that way. And it's just so odd to suddenly find myself this place in life where I'm a 56-year-old man who lives alone. I've got friends, I'm building this community here, but it's just so uniquely different from what I was raised in, and even I think what the world was way back when I was a young boy. It seems like another lifetime ago. And there's something wrong with the technology that has enabled us to be, self-sufficient. Self-sufficiency is a good thing. But I think we're relying on this technology, and we replace self-sufficiency with social isolation. And those aren't the same thing. They're just not. And I'm always going, well, I don't want to say always, but I'm probably, more often than not, I'm going to be awkward in large social situations. I'm much better small group, one-on-one kind of stuff. I don't really do small talk well. I like big talk. I guess you could tell that already in 2 videos. But when I said last episode, the first episode, that this was about getting out of my comfort zone, it wasn't just about taking a chance at riding a motorcycle and all the things that come, the inherent risks of being on this bike on the road. It was about this. It was about saying, I'm going to get out today. I'm going to go meet new people. I'm going to talk with them. I'm going to try to interact with them in as authentic a manner as possible. I'm going to try and let them know who I am. I'm going to try and get to know who they are authentically, right? As best as I can. And little by little, I'm starting to get to know some people who just a couple months ago didn't know I existed, and I didn't know they existed. And I'm starting to think of them as friends, or at least certainly good acquaintances at this point. And I'm trying to build social capital. I'm trying to believe that people are good. That the majority of us, even if we don't all think the same or behave the same, that we're good. And that we actually have so much more in common than we have that divides us. And I know that sounds like a line from a politician. We've heard people say it so often lately. But it's true. One of my former colleagues at the University of Essex in England, I put up a picture here of his paper, at least one, I think he's done more than one, of his published work on, his name is Paul Hanel, Dr. Paul Hanel. It's about data showing in America, around the world, people who consider themselves liberal, left-wing, right-wing, conservative, actually have significantly more in common than they think or that divides them. And it's just so bizarre that we've kind of forgotten that and eroded our social capital. We are good people. The majority of the people on this planet are good people. We want good things for ourselves, our family, our loved ones, our friends, and for others. We really do. And I'm just trying to remember that. I'm trying to get back to remembering that. It's important for me. It's important for society. It's important for you. And you can take that, you can leave it, you can do whatever you want with that, and hopefully you're already doing it, doing more than I am. And again, you can get there in other ways. It doesn't have to be motorcycles. But this is one way to do it. It's brilliant for that reason that I described earlier, is that it is a mix of the personal and the idiosyncratic, right? Me alone right now, isolated on this bike, purely in the moment alone. And it is social. You just saw me pass 2 motorcycles and we gave each other the motorcycle wave. That's what this is about. Alone and yet connected. Isolated and yet brothers and sisters on bikes. That's pretty cool. So unless I think of something else to say, I'm going to sign off here. I'm just going to enjoy my ride. I hope you enjoyed some of the ride that I showed you today, the ride to Culpeper, this ride back to Charlottesville. Think about what it is you're doing. Maybe you are doing it already, and I hope you are. I hope you feel connected to others, strangers. I hope you feel that you can trust people who live in your community, no matter what they believe, what they think, at least within reason. I mean, it boggles my mind, because I have to tell you the truth. If the idea of living in a world with 8 billion people who are basically the same as me is horrifying. I mean, seriously, I'm an alright guy. I mean, I'm okay. My self-esteem is a lot better than it used to be. But come on, I mean, it isn't just a cliche that we say that. It is our difference. It is our differences that make us special as humans. It's the truth. The variance that exists in human behavior and human idea and human thought is what is the beautiful tapestry of humanity. And I'm tired of people who talk about humanity with, oh, humans are a cancer on this planet. And I used to say when I was very young, the more people I meet, the more I like my dog. And so I was a part of that too. Humans aren't a cancer on this planet. Yeah, of course, we've made really bad decisions and we've harmed it, and we need to be better. And we have for a long time, and maybe we haven't done enough to make it better. But human beings are beautiful. We've created incredible art and music and ideas and intelligence, and we have love, and we love each other, and we've forgotten some of that, I think. So that's the end of that sermon, and I apologize if that got a little bit sappy or a little bit preachy. But I don't think of my fellow humans as cancers, and I don't think of them as bad people if they don't believe what I believe. It's okay to be you. Don't hurt anybody. Don't harm anybody. Don't harm yourself, and don't intentionally hurt someone else. That's it. It's a pretty standard, straightforward baseline for me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for checking out the video. For those of you who subscribed after my first video, thank you so much. It's so kind of you. Everybody, ride your ride. Enjoy your day. And please, check me out on the next one if you're interested. See you on the next one.